Crypto Nana, exit liquidity, hodl Nana, dump it all. Crypto Nana, exit liquidity, hodl Nana, dump it all.
Crypto Nana, exit liquidity,
dump it all.
hodl Nana, dump it all. From the day we arrive on the blockchain and blinking step into the trade, there's more to lose than can never be won, more to dump than can never be saved. Influencers, tweets, and the noobs all follow, buying high, selling low at a game. But the boomers know, and Sailor, he knows that the dump is coming. It's all the same. It's the circle of exit liquidity, and it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and FOMO, till we find our place on the path unwinding in the circle of exit liquidity. Some of us fall by the wayside, and some of us soar to the stars. But the influencers always win with the Lambos and their cars. So beware of the pump and the inevitable dump, for the cycle continues and the news get wrecked. Nana, exit liquidity, hodl Nana, dump it all. Crypto Nana, exit liquidity, hodl Nana, dump it all. Crypto Nana, exit liquidity, dump it all. hodl Nana, dump it all. It's the circle of exit liquidity, and it moves us all through despair and hope.
There will be no real non-controlled currency in the world.
Coming for you, banks.
And this is exactly what these Bitcoin Cash people are building.
Shout out to the Dragon Riders and the House of the Dragon.
This is a completely different situation than it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That's how frogs get boiled. And they added a bunch of new opcodes, and they're doing a bunch of things over there.
It will be the most hated rally ever, because a lot of people from some propaganda hate Bitcoin Cash.
Hello and welcome back to the Bitcoin Cash podcast, following Bitcoin Cash on its rise to global reserve currency. This is episode number 177, WizardConnect and BCH DeFi, featuring Dagur and Halvor, the Shadow Wizards. Today is Sunday, the 29th of March, 2026. I'm your host, Jeremy. Jet is doing the producing. On the price, BCH needing a bit of a breakthrough. We're kind of slowly hanging around in this number 11 spot, but it would be nice to get a pump, which is going to have to come from some kind of fundamental delivery. Maybe with Bliss coming up, we'll see. BCH USD $479.03, up slightly. One BTC sat buys 139.1 BCH sat, slightly up, and one ETH buys 415 mega sats, which is flat. Selene 30-day users at 666. Not a great number there, but it is what it is. Token on TVL, 12,302 BCH, and there are 32 Laylas available with about 1 month left on the sales there. So if you are coming along to Bliss or you're thinking about it, definitely look into it, because we would absolutely love to sell out. We've already broken last year's sales record and our all-time sales record. So Bliss is looking to be bigger and better than ever, but it would be incredible to sell out. So 32 tickets, get them while they're hot. Okay, our guests today, Shadow Wizards, Dagur and Halvor, that were last on the show 8 months ago and are returning to update us on everything BCH DeFi. Starting with Halvor, how you doing, man? What you been up to?
Fantastic. Now I've been working with other Shadow Wizards. Obviously, last Friday we launched WizardConnect, which was such a huge milestone for us. So we're just enjoying every day, working, pushing good stuff to Moria and Cauldron, and now also WizardConnect. And yeah, we're just enjoying this very nice ride.
And BCH in general at the moment, how are you feeling? Just how you feeling the community vibes? It's been kind of quiet. There hasn't been much drama or new releases. Any sense of that? Is everyone saving it up to go hard at Bliss or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's good that we have a little break in the drama. I mean, it's fun, but I think we should all channel our energy outwards and use this to penetrate the world with our awesomeness instead. So now it's good. It's good. I'm happy. Last time I was on, we spoke about kind of the fact that now even normies are realizing the fact about the hijacking, etc. Now we've come even further. Even all these kinds of people. Basically now it's common knowledge that BTC was hijacked. Also the Epstein stuff helps to prove this. So yeah, super happy.
Yeah, I mean, the world, truth doesn't rust. I really like that saying. So as long as you're on the right path, might take a long while. It's like the counter to Brandolini's law, it's 100 times easier to spread bullshit than the truth. But the counter is that the truth doesn't rust, while lies eventually, eventually they stop spreading it. Eventually just people know that it's bullshit. So we're winning just by time moving in our favor. Dagur, how you been? What's been going on with you recently?
I'm good. It's good to be back on the podcast. I'm fine. I'm considering buying an extra ticket just for the airdrops. There might be airdrops. Not from us. That's not an announcement. Just historically. As for BCH, it's been going sideways, and so it's been quiet. It's usually more like drama and fun when things are going up and down. But I still see like a lot of activity, and I think like the hackathon recently was quite impressive because there were actually like new products coming out of it, new DeFi products, and I think that's like the first hackathon that has like really used cash scripts and DeFi opportunities on BCH to create something cool. And this shows that we have come a long way. And people might just start jumping on, creating a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, shout out to BCH1. They have actually been crushing it. The whole thing seemed to run very, very smoothly. They announced the winners. There was at least 5 or 6 and probably more solid projects that got launched out of it. Obviously, AI is helping accelerate people to not only put together new products, but also they can kind of come out looking a bit slick, right? That's something that I've really noticed with AI, is that if you think of a hackathon project from, 5 years ago, maybe you would expect like, okay, maybe it just barely works, but you're also expecting like bare HTML, right? You're not expecting it to look that nice or have a nice landing page or a nice, UI or animations or anything. You're kind of like, that will come later. But now with AI, it's so easy to get something that at least looks slick that it makes you excited to want to try it out and stuff. So I've been doing a fantastic job, and I think Joey's done an excellent job, not only in, creating the whole hackathon, but then helping people who maybe are new to these tools, like pick them up. That's not an easy thing at all. And like you say, we're going to just increasingly see people jumping onto BCH and building stuff. Like, that's the whole point of permissionless, right? There's no speed limit to how fast it can go. People can join at the speed that they join. Do you see a lot of that happening in your neck of the woods? Have you been noticing people actually jumping onto the DeFi tooling? Like, do you have any internal metrics or anything like that, like for Cauldron API usage or something that backs that up?
Yeah, that's like one of the challenges we've had like the recent years, because the API has been hammered. We get about, I think I checked the numbers, and it's about I think about 3 million API requests per month. So
good start. Good start.
We really had to scale up. I know, like on the note, like on AI, it really changes stuff. You have to, I think it's very smart now to document everything, like make really good documentation. Before it was not that important because humans really can't be bothered to read documentation, but AI is really good at it. So if you really document your tools, you show examples, that really helps people build new stuff on top of your stuff.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because like you say, you know, people have RTFM, right? Like they never actually want to read the manual, and then only after they frustratingly tried 10 other things will they go back and read the manual. But AI kind of shortcuts it, because like you say, AI will read the manual, and then it gives people that opportunity to just be like, let's just get started. Like, AI has such a low barrier to entry. I feel like that's one of the reasons that it's so successful as it is. The same way that Google was like, okay, there's just a box. You type in the box, you get an answer. AI is that same workflow. You know, type in the box and it's already created something, or it's already giving you feedback. And humans love getting hands-on with stuff. So I feel like that's also something we need to learn a bit more in BCH. Obviously, like I tried to do with Selene, that, okay, you can start and you're already making transactions and stuff within 10 or 15 seconds, because anything slower than that, all those other wallets, you got to write down your seed phrase. You got to have somebody give you a huge sales pitch about how it's the future of money, blah, blah, blah. Like, ain't nobody got time for that. No wonder it's spreading peer-to-peer, you know?
Yeah. When I'm going to onboard new people to Cauldron, I found that the most effective way is just to say, hand me your phone, and then I just go into Cauldron Quest and just send them MUSD. It's like a reverse robbery. It's it is the most efficient way, just to give people money, actually.
Yeah, it is a bit counterintuitive in a way too, though, because even though it's a time-tested BCH strategy to just give people a little bit of Bitcoin, like, people don't value things that they don't work for, right?
Yeah.
So that's where it can be a little bit tricky. And my advice to people is, what you've got to do is, if possible, you've got to barter something for it. So if they're like, let me give you a dollar of BCH, but, you know, here, hand me $1 from your pocket. If they have cash on them, that's good. Or if you can engineer some situation, like they've just bought you a drink, or they are trading something for that initial onboarding, that will increase your retention rate a lot. But at the same time, nothing's cheaper than free. So people sometimes will kind of not be willing to do that. But then you say, okay, well, let me just give it to you anyway. And then once they have the experience, you know, it kind of anchors in their mind. But then you've also got to expect them to lose that money, because you tell them to back up their seed phrase. They're never going to back it up. Then 6 months later, they say, hey, where's that $1? You say, did you back it up? They say no. You say, okay, I hope you learned a lesson. And they will, right? Like, that's kind of how I do it, you know? All right, well, let's get onto it then. So WizardConnect, like you said, you guys have released a replacement, I guess, or an upgrade to, I wonder how you describe it, for WalletConnect V2. It's described as BCH first. Obviously, it's open source. It's HD wallet compatible and future proofs for NFTs and so forth. I can say that, Dagur, you did a great job, and you made a PR for Selene wallet, which Callisti has reviewed and told me will be in the next release. So it's not in Selene yet, but it is coming probably in the next month or so, whenever we do the next release. But get into this. Maybe Dagur can start on this one. What is the whole point of WizardConnect, and why is this a big deal?
The whole point is that's been like our biggest frustration onboarding users, is that WalletConnect has been so unreliable. So it's mostly like a fix to a pain point we've had. That you click on wallet, you try to connect, and then you try to sign a transaction and nothing happens, right? And that's from the user side. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it's like even worse on mobile. You try to switch between apps, that like closes some connections and then have to restart again. So we just really needed a reliable way to connect wallets to our application to have like better onboarding experience, better first impression, and so on. And that's like the starting. That's the basic problem to solve.
Yeah.
But then we of course want to build it in like the best possible way, and which that's why we went for. So WizardConnect is like mainly a protocol, right? We do provide libraries, and we use the libraries ourselves, which is a good motivation to make them work well, right? But it's also just a protocol, and we try to make it as simple as possible, both being like extendable, but in a way also completely replaceable. So you can add new like cool tech, like I'm not okay, like multisig. That's not possible today, right? That will be possible by just replacing the HT wallet protocol that we added. When you talked about NFTs, we talked about like on last year on Bliss, I talked about like having NFTs owning stuff, and NFTs can hold Bitcoin, can hold tokens. NFTs already hold like Moria loans. So you can like make a NFT-centric wallet that is basically just, instead of a wallet address, you have like an NFT that owns all your shit. And like, yeah, many ideas on that front.
So tell me about the stability. Like, what makes it more stable? Because I'm not, enough in the weeds here to know. But what I do know is that WalletConnect, the original version, right, was developed in Ethereum. And as far as I know, they're still using it. So despite its flaws or whatever, it must be working well enough to that. Is it just that it was unstable and they have just dealt with that their own way? Or is it that the BCH port that we did was, where the problem was introduced and that's where we've fixed it? Or what makes WizardConnect more stable than WalletConnect?
I think the Git did a good job introducing BCH to WalletConnect. But BCH has always been like a second citizen on that protocol. I don't know if that's the reason or not, but it's not been working very well. Maybe it's been becoming better in like recent versions, but as it was implemented, it just suddenly stopped working. I don't know if you noticed, but you couldn't like upgrade the WalletConnect libraries in your applications. So we didn't get like the latest fixes, and that's just because they just invalidated the Bitcoin Cash chain identification that we had. And I think they replaced it with something called BIP 122. Is basically you have to use like BIP 122 dash and like the hard fork height.
Yes, I remember. Yes. Constant sabotage as per usual,
Yeah, but like that's like almost offensive. You're like forcing us to call ourselves the fork when we are like the real Bitcoin. But I don't know. I don't think it works great. And you just try it. Just click on like WalletConnect, and you have the first impression is they have to wait like 2-3 seconds before the QR code shows up because they're like asking for a session or something on their remote server. While with WizardConnect, it pops up immediately, because the only thing you need to know is who am I talking to, and then the application already knows who it is, right?
Yeah. No, this sounds great. Like, of course, I'm totally on board. I agree with you. I know that WalletConnect definitely has had its problems, and I've had to do my fair share of user support and saying to people, oh, this is not perfect, but it is what it is. And so I like that we're rebuilding everything from scratch, because that's just always been the BCH mentality. Any little crack that somebody else who is not BCH aligned is in control of, they will find some way to either screw it up, fail it, stop running it, introduce some extra friction, add a fee. Like, we've just seen it over and over and over again. So I'm thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to, right, just getting rid of why isn't it working? Oh, just try to refresh your browser, try to reload the application, try to reconnect. Just get rid of all that. Just make it work reliably and fast. That's the goal.
Right. Okay, cool. And you built it on Nostr, right? Why was that chosen, and why does that matter? And maybe even just explain Nostr for people who don't really know what that is.
Yeah, I can start by explaining it. Nostr is like a decentralized relay network. Basically, it's just servers that forward messages between people, right? So you can connect to a Nostr server, and I can connect to it, and then we can talk to each other. But it also allows like end-to-end encryption. It's important, right? Privacy. But in addition, it also allows anyone to set up a server, and then they will connect to each other and build like a network. That's really good for decentralization. It's really good for privacy, because you connect to our Nostr server for using WizardConnect, but like Celine, you guys could set up your own, right? And the server could talk to us, and then the user doesn't have to connect to us; they can connect to you. And it removes us from like being a centralized just point of failure, really. And it also allows the users to have more privacy if they want.
Yeah, so that's
everything
like
is open source, right? So
exactly.
You just remove completely decentralized entity and make it just super decentralized, super reliable, scalable.
Yeah, so it was built, as far as I know, mostly by the BTC community. Is a couple of those guys got at some point interested in all this, and they started working on Nostr. It's also been used in BChat, if anybody has been playing around with the sort of beta test version that we put out for that from Celine. And I think it's kind of beautiful. It sort of proves the whole open source thing, where they've actually made quite a lot of good stuff in terms of setting up the protocol and the existing server libraries and packages and all that. And now the BCH community is able to come in and just sort of piggyback on that. Of course, we like, consistent with what we were just saying, we are going to have to maintain our own relays. Eventually, we'll start figuring out we need to add this or tweak this, and then, we'll be on our own fork of it. I can guarantee that's going to happen, but we can't rely on them. They will rug us, right? The BTC guys, if we are using their infrastructure, they'll stop maintaining it or find some way to screw around with us. So we are going to have to take it in our own direction, but we've got a big head start because they built most of it and we didn't have to, right?
I think it just shows like that the BTC guys still share like fundamental values with our community, that they can build this really cool technology and we can adopt it and make cool stuff on top of it, right? That's also my impression when I sometimes go to like BTC events and people are sharing the same values. They just don't really understand what has happened in a historical perspective.
They're just confused.
We got to show them the light. It is up to us to show them the light. So, Halvor, tell me a little bit from your perspective about WizardConnect. Was this one of your brainchildren, or where do you see it fitting into the whole Cauldron and Riften Labs tech stack?
Yeah, like all the products in Riften Labs suite, it is the brainchild of Dagur, of course. for us, we saw that it was a major hurdle for people using Cauldron and Moria, the WorldConnect issues. And it got to a point where we just figured out that we'll just make our own. We can't rely on this third-party company, never updating, never optimizing for BCH users. It is a whole new product, so it's distinct from both Cauldron and Moria. And I'm super happy about the launch and kind of about the announcement last Friday. Like the other stuff we make, it is open source, and this was very, very important for us, so that these were no kind of gatekeeping in the WizardConnect kind of everything surrounding it. And we wanted to just make something cool that all the community could use, and every DApp and hopefully more DApps will come and to use it. So, I mean, philosophically, having WizardConnect was important because obviously Cauldron has a wallet, like a web wallet. We are making an iOS and Android app. We, similarly to how we view different tokens and kind of our stance on all the different assets on Cauldron, we never want to gatekeep, and we never want to kind of endorse one thing or the other. So for us, just opening up the ways for people to use all kinds of different wallets, it was very, very important for us. So I'm extremely happy.
Yeah, and so with the integrations then, I mean, obviously you'll build it into your stuff. Like I said, Dagur already put in a PR to Celine. Thank you for that, and we will have that out soon. Are there any other existing integrations, or what are you expecting for the uptake, like Cashanize, Paytaka, other software, maybe even Electron Cash or Bitcoin.com? Are you doing any work to try and encourage integrations there?
Yeah, we have communication channels with Bitcoin.com. Roger is a close friend of Labs, of course, and we speak with them regularly.
We already made the Electron Cash plugin. It's basically just I haven't released it yet, but you can try it out if you like. I think it's working very well. Paytaka was the first to actually merge it. So Paytaka already has a release out. Very well done by Jomar. It's very fast at shipping stuff.
Amazing.
And we really just encourage us to. We really want to get it out there. So for like, we would like to encourage the users to tell us like where do you want it, and we will try to put out merge requests out. For Cashanize, I'm not sure if they wanted it to be, because they're working on something else. I think they're working on like WalletConnect with HD, but I extended the offer to them as well.
Okay, cool. So, well, I mean, it sounds like it's, rapidly going to become a little bit of the new standard. I mean, the BCH seed moves pretty fast. I'm still like amazed, like 2023 was when cash tokens hit mainnet, right? And then since then, how much has developed? Okay, and then we've been through this whole wallet connect stuff. We've obviously got, BCMR, like these different pieces of infrastructure coming up. Now we have WizardConnect. Does this, well, there's two related questions that I have here. So first is, what are the other benefits of WizardConnect? So not like you said, it's got encryption and so forth, but the HD wallet part of it seems like a very big deal, because that's also been a big stumbling block with the WalletConnect, was that people could only have it on that first address, and enough people are using HD wallets that there was always grief with their NFTs on the wrong address and stuff, right?
That's also really been a pain point. Like, where did my money go, right? Last time I connected, I had BCH here, but I didn't realize that when they made like another transaction in their wallet, it went to a change address, and you have to like send it back. So that completely removes this issue, because you, instead of like connecting one address, you connect the whole wallet, right? And while we're talking about integrations, I just want to mention there is a project, I think it's called Zero World or something, that all are already integrating it as on the DApp site. and they already like pushed like a merge request, pull request on an extension they want to it, where they will work on stealth addresses. So
wow,
that's going in. So with WizardConnect, you can soon connect to a DApp and use stealth addresses. It's really cool.
wow, that is very cool. I mean, I know like we've been sort of promising in BCH for quite a long time the potential for better privacy tooling and so forth. Okay, we need the scripts updates. Okay, everyone's busy with, you know, all this other stuff that is kind of a higher priority at the moment. But I didn't know that things had already got, I know there's been efforts to work on the stealth addresses, but I didn't realize it's suddenly already getting to this point that WizardConnect will, and that might even be able to be standardized, right? So that everybody who's using WizardConnect for any DApp will essentially be able to use stealth addresses and just add obfuscation to their on-chain activity, right?
Yeah. You have to, like the wallet side and the DApp side have to agree, like we both support stealth addresses. Then you can just use it because it's standard within WizardConnect, right?
Damn. Okay. All right. Well, very hype. I didn't realize, you know, BCH, I monitor this stuff all day, every day, and it's now starting to be even further ahead of where I'm paying attention to. And so tell me also about the second question then is like Cash Connect, right? There's been a lot of chatter about that for, I don't know, maybe even 18 months. The GP guys are working on templates and so forth. And a lot of it was, okay, we're going to have Cash Connect to help wallets integrate with that in terms of shipping, you know, a product, right? So that it would be universally accessible throughout the ecosystem. Is WizardConnect a competitor to Cash Connect? Is there some overlap? Are they separate things? Are you expecting wallets to integrate both? What are the difference? Tell me about Cash Connect, which hasn't launched yet, so it might be hard to say, but tell me about that.
The Cash Connect solves like a different problem, right? They solve the problem that wallets don't really know what they are signing. And it helps wallets better understand, like, you are signing a guru bet, and this is the money going into the contract, and this is what you will receive back. It makes it more transparent, right? And that's exactly what EXO is working on as well. So it's really solving a different problem, and I think it's also like transport layer agnostic. So I believe I haven't like fully understood the product myself, but I believe they could add it like on top of WizardConnect instead of using Wallet Connect relays as they are doing now.
Very cool. So we can eventually have Wizard Cash Connect, which is fusing those two together, right? Cash Wizard Connect. So. Okay. All right.
I can just say that we wish someone else made WizardConnect. This is like we just made it because no one else did. So no, we're not competing with Cash Connect and both technically and kind of philosophically. But yeah, so we just made it because we freaking needed it. Every single person in the community have felt this pain. So yeah, I'm happy we did, but we just did it out of necessity. So.
Yeah, well, I did. You know, I agree. I mean, obviously, everything's kind of like nobody else is going to do it, so we're going to do it. Same reason I started the podcast and Celine.
Yeah.
I wish somebody else would do it, or you know, all this stuff, but it's me that's got to get it done. So everybody's got their boulder to carry. But I was thinking, yeah, like I didn't realize actually that Cash Connect is probably transport layer agnostic. I did not know that. So I wasn't really sure whether there was going to be the possibility of using both or whether we'd have to support both or anything. But if we can fuse them together, that is sounding very, very promising. I don't know if either of you guys have any thoughts on where Cash Connect is at. Like you might be the wrong, you know, people to ask. Maybe you just don't know, same as I don't know. But it's been like gurus have been saying for more than a year, like, we're going to ship it, it's coming, and hopefully it is coming. I'm sure they will eventually deliver, but maybe if you guys have any word on the street or anything about that, if you know about that coming earlier, yes, no, maybe.
I thought they already at least partially delivered, at least a beta, right? You can connect CashNice to the Guru website with CashConnect.
Yes.
But I don't know much more than you do. No.
Okay. All right. Cool. And are there any other benefits to it? We've talked about it being HD wallet compatible. We've talked about it being future-proofed a little bit. We've talked about it obviously being BCH first, being more stable. What else? Let's see. What else is on this list that we've got here? Secure and decentralized using Nostr, end-to-end encrypted. Is there anything else that?
It's really simple. That's a good thing, right? It started off really much more complex. We started to implement our own relay server and the protocol. I started the protocol trying to push every pub key I wanted to use to the application. We ended up with a different solution where the problem with pushing every pub key to the application you want to use is that, say your wallet has 20,000 change addresses, and then you push 1,000 addresses at one time. The problem is every time on mobile, every time you want to push some new batch of addresses, you have to go back to the wallet, and then back to the DApp, and then back to the wallet. So if you had 20,000 addresses, that would be 20 round trips. So instead, we opted for sharing a XPub path. And I don't think everyone knows that when you think of XPub key, I don't know if people know what XPub key is. Okay, but people that know, I can tell what XPub key is. Maybe to start with, XPub key is for deriving addresses in your wallet. So you have one binary string or string at least, a small data that you can use to derive addresses in a wallet. And usually when you share XPub key, you share the entire wallet, every address it ever could have made. But you can also narrow it, and that's what we did. You narrow it to specific, these are receive path of your wallet. You don't share the entire wallet, you just share this path. And by sharing that, you can have the DApp side know all the addresses it needs in the future forever, basically. And it saves every round trip. You just have to handshake once, connect, and you're done. You don't have to reopen the application all the time.
So people would need to, for people who don't know, it's kind of the XPub is kind of your seed phrase, but only for your publicly visible addresses, right? It kind of gives you mega access to absolutely everything, but with the caveat that unlike your seed phrase, which is your XPriv, basically, then you can't steal all the money, but you can view all the addresses. And especially if we're looking to a world where you want to be able to do a seamless connection and have your wallet and that DApp negotiate new addresses so that you're not reusing addresses, that's obviously where we, especially with stealth addresses and so forth, that's the direction we want to be going in. But we also don't want things going the other way where, okay, you've now made things more obfuscated from people watching the blockchain, but in return, you've just handed over all of your information and surveillance capabilities to the apps instead, right? So you're saying that this can potentially mitigate that, because when you're handing people not the master XPub, but only a slice of the XPub, right? There's the path for the main addresses, there's the secondary path for change addresses, and then there's a third one for DeFi addresses, if I remember right when I read the docs, yeah?
And now there are coming more paths, they're coming stealth addresses and so on. And it's really up to you, how much convenience versus privacy do you want? Because you can set up, if you like, you can set up a private XPub path for every DApp you connect to. That would mean you have to move funds to that DApp, but But like every convenience versus practicality is always a decision you have to make.
So if you can have a path for every DeFi app, like at the moment, that might be a pain in the ass, right? But in the future, we can just sort of automate that even. So your wallet could automatically just split off each new dApp onto a new path, and then that dApp would be able to grab a fresh list of addresses, as many as it needed, so you weren't reusing addresses, and you also didn't need to look every time, what is this new address? But also it could not surveil any of the addresses that weren't the ones it was communicating with you about, right?
Yeah.
Damn. That's sounding good. That's sounding good. We're on the right track here. Halvor, what are we missing in this discussion? What is there any other benefit or advantage to WizardConnect that we haven't discussed yet?
Yeah, well, on the topic of convenience, when using Cauldron, prior to launching WizardConnect, I would actually advise users to just use a Cauldron wallet when setting up their account, because it was so much easier. There's obvious drawbacks with using like a browser wallet. This is something you normally never want to do. But we did, because it worked the best, and WorldConnect was such a shitty product. However, now it's actually better for people to use the external wallet connection protocol and to connect via WizardConnect, and this also kind of is more optimized for people with big wallets and also kind of whale activity, because you could say that just transferring, having some BCH maybe on a Paytaka wallet or whatever, and just sending it to your local Cauldron browser wallet, it's easy, yes, but if you are a super user and if you kind of have all your money in BCH, then it's good to just have it in one place, like you do in normal banking. You have one bank account and you have these different connection protocols connecting it to Visa, like eBay, and so the most convenient way of using Cauldron has changed from using a browser wallet and to now being able to connect to all these kind of different wallets.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, I'm really loving the way it's taken a few years, but we're starting to get to that point where Cauldron, as an example, or also like BCH Gurus, these different other things, like people are going to be able to build a new app, maybe using AI in a BCH Hackcelerator, launch it, and have every other person just show up to the website already with their BCH wallet. One click, you're in, and everything just works. These people building these apps don't have to worry about all the infrastructure. They don't have to worry about making good wallets. Like, both of those things are already taken care of, and by a variety of different vendors, both in terms of the infrastructure and the wallets, so that everybody can have a freedom of choice in their wallet, but also everything just works super slick with everything else, which is kind of the promised land. We're actually getting there a little faster than I thought.
Yeah, we are.
Everyone's working hard all day, every day. Okay, any final thoughts on WizardConnect before we move on?
Yeah, to the people out there, if you have any good kind of ideas for WizardConnect, or if you just want to fork it and make a better version, please fucking do. Okay.
Yeah, just crack on with it. Okay, all right. So that's obviously your new major release, but that's not the only thing you guys are working on. It's been a while since we've checked in with you on Cauldron and MUSD. Most users should be already, or most listeners should already be familiar, but Cauldron is your BCH Dex, and MUSD is the collateralized BCH decentralized USD stablecoin. So as of yesterday, when I was checking this out, Cauldron has 1,600 BCH TVL, which is about $800,000 US, and 30,000 BCH volume. Moria has 358,000 MUSD minted, with about 1,200 BCH TVL backing it, or 565,000. Given that both of those, I guess, products have been out for a couple of years now, Cauldron would be, Cauldron came out with cash tokens, if I remember right, or at the first Bliss, and then Moria came out, a year later, right? So given those are both a couple of years old now, how are you guys feeling about where those projects are at? Are they ahead of or behind expectations, and how are you feeling?
Now we're way ahead of expectations. Eventually volumes need to get up in the billions. We are aware of this, but if you go back and you look at other kind of similar protocols for EVM, etc., this kind of, even though it is a kind of a hockey stick looking growth on the DeFi Llama chart there, it's like it takes time. And I remember when we first got to like 10K in volume, we were so happy, and it took such a freaking long time. And then 100K, and now it's just growing and growing, and we expect this to continue. So we are very, very happy.
Yeah, and so I guess, how much of the Riften Labs time actually do you spend between these projects? Because like you say, a lot of these things are growing and growing, and kind of once you get the ball rolling, you obviously need to keep everything online, but you don't always need to be adding a lot of extra stuff. You just need time for the product to spread, for people to hear about it, for more things to integrate and so forth. So between like launching WizardConnect versus maintaining or adding things to Cauldron and MUSD, what's like the breakdown of your internal effort?
Well, our team is very solid right now. So we're lucky to have talented people in different domains. So yeah, we obviously Dagur is like the main kind of protocol wizard, but also Hussein, our newest addition to the company. He has also put his brain to work in an amazing way. He is actually the main developer for initial Dex Offering. We can talk about this later. But yeah, we kind of we take all the people in the company, and we kind of laser focus on, for example, WizardConnect these past couple of months. Initial Dex Offering has been mostly Hussein, Dagur, and me. And for the Cauldron Android and iOS app, that's been Halvor, Shadow Wizard number 4. The guy, he was also at Blaze, super talented dev. So yeah, we have a very good mapped out the different skill sets of every developer in Riften Labs. So it's easy to kind of just deploy each and every one to the area that needs work at this specific point.
Yeah, okay. So a little bit of everything happening at once. So before we get into that initial Dex offering, that sounds exciting. I haven't heard about that before. I've got a couple of questions that I know the listeners, including me, are keen to hear the answers to. So the first thing is, what happened to Deep Mint for MUSD? You guys were hyping that up. Oh, we're going to onboard all these whales. We're going to let people mint like stacks of money in one go, etc., etc. And then that went kind of quiet. And then suddenly you're coming out with WizardConnect. Like, this other stuff has been going on. So what happened about Deep Mint?
Deep Mint is coming. Deep Mint is a very easy addition to the Moria protocol. And just for people that maybe aren't aware, Deep Mint, it's an update for Moria, where you can mint bigger loans at a time, and where bigger loans can be owned by the SEM NFT. Well, the simple answer is that we just have so much other things that we had to do. WizardConnect, it's not just important for Moria and Cauldron. It's kind of this thing that the whole community wanted to see happen. And yeah, this kind of the beauty with decentralized applications. We are actually not needed, but now that we have these amazing things, we kind of just had to troop away and do WizardConnect. But Deep Mint is coming. So Deep Mint, it's kind of a protection for whales that can adjust interest rate and collateralization degree on the loans. It is coming. It is on the roadmap. We will develop it. It's not a huge job for us, but we just had so many other important things that we had to do and cook up, especially before Serbia. Before Ljubljana.
Yes, Bliss. Yes, we'll get onto that as well too. And the second one that I have to ask,
basically, I'll just say we had like to take a small step back because we've been growing. You see the hockey stick, right? And that's been really a strain on our servers. So I had like to take a small step back and make stuff fast again, right? I don't know if you noticed, but at some point Cauldron started to be a bit slow. And of course, we want to we want to be the world's fastest Dex, and that also has to show in the user interface, not just in the contract. So we've been really fixing our backend stuff, instead of moving fast and breaking stuff. Like I said on the first Bliss, take a step back and just make sure stuff is reliable and works. That has been, but we also done a lot of work on Cauldron. It might seem like iterative, so you don't really notice it. But if you look back 1 year at how Cauldron used to look like versus how it looks and feels now as the end user, it's so much better.
Yeah, it can definitely catch off guard. Yeah, well, I notice small things occasionally, but to be honest, when Cauldron came out, I was paying a lot of attention to it, and I love looking back at. I tweeted a screenshot of Cauldron OG edition, and then I'll be able to retweet that every year, and it gets more and more hype as you look at the TVLs were $2,000 or something like that. Yeah. So I love that. But even recently, I have not been looking at Cauldron as much, kind of because, I don't need to in a way. The scene is just growing. You talk about those BCH 1 projects that all launch. It's on my to-do list to go and dig into all of those and give them a proper look as well. But I haven't done that either. There's only so many time in the day, and I'm launching Selene, Bliss, all these things. And I'm so thrilled that now the ecosystem is just beyond the scope of any one person to keep up with. I'm sure it's the same for you guys, right? A couple of years ago, you could keep an eye on everything that was happening, but now stuff gets released and you're kind of I'll look at it when I get a chance, right?
Yeah, it's we wake up every day and it's 500 new messages on Telegram, and I just go to the office and then.
Okay, so yeah, but I'm sure it is improving all the time, and definitely, it's good that it's getting more and more slick. And when you say with the scalability, so I assume then WizardConnect is kind of in place, and those upgrades have been made so that the next couple of orders of magnitude scaling are already provisioned for, right? That's the concept.
Yeah, and after we race around, part of the plan is to onboard market makers, like you said, and grow TVL a couple orders of magnitude. But we have seen such good growth, just 100% organically, that this is kind of, in EVM projects, they start with onboarding a couple of million USD in TVL from market makers, which is it's not real people, and also using market makers for increasing volume. And since we've had such good growth, we have kind of waited a bit with that. But yeah, we are ready to deploy that whenever we want to.
Amazing, very, very cool. So one other thing that I have to ask about, users have been asking about it, and I also am curious, which is that you have MUSD, and you sort of, maybe even the last time on the show, even that was one of the recent things that you'd sort of said or teased or brought up, was the idea of doing a Euro token, maybe a gold token. I think you even specifically said a Tesla stock token and really expanding the range of assets. Is it the same thing that happened with Deep Mint, like that's still coming, but obviously other things took priority, or what's the update on that?
It's not exactly the same because we are the only ones that can make Deep Mint, right? Because it has to be integrated to Moria Money and into the app interface. Think about M Euro, M Tesla, and M Gold. Anyone can make this. Anyone can make this using the Delphi Oracle. The only thing needed is to have a constant price feed. So actually, we would like anyone else to make this. We will do all these kinds of different cool things, but this is kind of, as I said earlier, this is something that anyone can make using the Moria protocol. So yeah, but if no one else does, we will.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on at the moment, so putting out a call out to the ecosystem, all the hackers out there listening to this show, get on it. The wizards are plenty busy, so you can also just make a fortune. There's already user demand and so forth for any of these other tokens. All the blueprints are there. A lot of the infrastructure is already set up, but just take the initiative and get it done. So
hold on. While we're on this and we're making suggestions, someone's got to make an M Costco.
Yeah.
Costco hot dog.
Yeah.
150. Trade directly in hot dogs. Yeah, I can see it. So I got to ask you as well too. How much digging I can do here, I don't know. But what else is coming? Is there something else that's maybe in the pipeline, or you can of course be maybe saving up some announcements for Bliss, I don't know, but is there anything else you want to tease or bring up that might be coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, absolutely. Initial Dex Offering will be very, very exciting. So Initial Dex Offering, it's a new functionality in the Cauldron interface, allowing people to have their own kind of ICO launch of a token. In AMMs and in Cauldron Dex, we have seen this kind of bottleneck where people make a token, they have maybe some BCH, but not tens of thousands, and it's kind of a hurdle. It's kind of giving a hard beginning. The fact that token developers have to put out liquidity of their token and also 50-50ing it with Bitcoin Cash. And this kind of stops them from having big pools, and also the users and kind of swappers to do big purchases of these tokens and actually give some Bitcoin Cash and maybe some runway to the token developer. So Initial Dex Offering, it will let people create a token inside the Cauldron interface, set up a sale, and then raise BCH. They will get some runway, and people can buy big chunks, $1,000, $10,000 of the token, and the token dev will have some runway and can kind of kickstart the project, just like back in the day.
Yes, running back the classics. Okay, so the concept is that at the moment, so it's kind of like a fund me, right, for a cash token launch, where at the moment, if you want to do a token, like you said, it's just you just have to put it out there live, and you also have to back half of it. So you've sort of already reduced your runway by half in a way to run it. But this is sounding like people will be able to buy in chunks and know that their money is not going to get spent unless the whole amount is raised. Is that how it's going to work?
Yeah.
Yes, correct. So it's a way for people to buy tokens for a fixed price for a fixed amount of time, like a typical Ethereum ICO would happen, and also with assurance that some of the tokens will be locked up in liquidity. But the token issuer can set parameters for himself.
Right. And so they can set sort of multiple tranches. Like there's often the way where there's like a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, maybe changing over time or related to other variables? Is that included?
Yes. And also it's kind of the main thing is that it helps people go from 0 to 1 in kind of the token issuer stage. I mean, in the Bitcoin Cash community, we have a lot of whales. And when I remember early days in Cauldron, I showed people it and they were like, oh, I'm going to test it. And they just put in 10 BCH. And it was like 200% price impact. And this will let people do big purchases and fund cool stuff that even though the token developer maybe doesn't have $1 million in liquidity to kickstart it.
So what happens is that both the token developer for whatever project he wants to fund, he gets the funding, right? In addition, part of the funds will be set aside to create a liquidity pool, so you get instant liquidity in a similar way you get with like BCH Pump and stuff. So you get both like funding for the project that needs funding, and you also get instant liquidity as soon as
it
offering
launches.
is a success. And if it's not a success, then okay, fine. Everyone gets their money back.
Yes. Okay. So everybody sort of locks their money into it. Yeah, just sort of similar to a FundMe. Okay, so is there an accountability mechanism? That's an area that FundMe is sort of slowly building up, and maybe you guys have thought about this too, because in a way, I mean, ICOs are famous for the era of scams, right? Doesn't this let people just promise the moon, launch a big thing? If they somehow get enough hype going, they get a bunch of cash, and then they just rug and never deliver anything.
You can do that now. You don't need like a platform for it. But yeah.
Well, I know you can do that now, right? You will always be able to do that. That's inbuilt to human society. So part of the solution is the BCH community learning to have better judgment, the free market slowly allocating capital to people that are more discerning in what they invest in. But that said, we can hopefully do a lot to improve that situation technologically as well, like either having, for instance, this IDO, you could have people getting not the entire tranche straight away. They could have a vote from the token holders. Like the money is there, everyone locks up the money, they hit the threshold. Now they've got, 100% of the funds are known to be available, but the person who's promising to deliver only gets 5% or 10% of the money. 90% stays locked, and to unlock
That's a really good idea.
they need to get a vote from the rest of them, right? Is that in there? Not yet.
Not yet.
It's not. That's a very good idea. And it's like with every decentralized crypto project. When me and Dagur started Cauldron and founded Rift Labs, it was very important. It would be natural maybe to be anonymous, right? Like Pancake Swap guys. But this is extremely important for us to have our names doxed, and all of our team to have our names doxed, just so that people can actually hold us accountable for everything that we do, everything that we promise, everything that we develop, and how we handle capital now that we've grown to kind of a sizable company. And this is the same with IDO. To make something really, truly cool, you have to put yourself out there. You have to have skin in the game. You have to use your name. So if somebody creates an IDO where they don't even dox themselves, they don't even say that, hey, I'm a developer of this project, then like I would never invest in such a coin or a project. So the same rules and kind of norms as for all of crypto is the same in IDO. If you want to create something truly, truly cool, I expect you to be doxed and to kind of follow up on it and to use either your internet alias or your real name. So this is This is the same for initial Dex Offering.
I mean, it's
I
true.
I think the token vote suggestion was really good. I have to think about that.
Yeah.
Like tiers of releasing the funds. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, because part of the reason I think this is a good idea, and I've talked about this before on this show, like for FundMe, but for IDO, it could be perfect or anything. And this is just the first step of the idea. I'm sure we could get more complicated over time, right? But the reason that it seems so key to me is that if you look at other cryptocurrencies that have some kind of mechanism for funding people, like out of the Coinbase, for instance, like Dash, or maybe like eCash, or these different other coins where they're handing out funds to different people, they also need a mechanism for, okay, we gave them some, big batch of money, they didn't just run off with it. And a lot of the way they do that is by either having some kind of a vote and or some kind of time-based distribution, often in combination, so that people know that the money is there so they can dream big. Because if you say, okay, well, what if, like, let's say this show, I could just put up a FundMe and say, fund me for the next 200 episodes and just get this massive, amount of money if everybody trusted me that much. But it actually makes more sense if I just say, well, let's just do it 10 episode chunks. I could even do 1 episode chunks, but the reason I don't is then it's a bit hard for me to plan, and it's also a bit hard for people to constantly be, contributing more money. But if we can lower the friction on that so that people can subscribe to things and then also put in their feedback, which is how any company works. The investors give money to the startup people. They start something and then they check back in like 6 months and they're like, what's your results? Are we going to give you another batch of money, or are we going to change direction or whatever? And we need to be able to replicate that at a very low overhead, both financially and, mentally, in terms of friction to use it. And then we'll build a flourishing economy because everyone will be. I would love to go on my, Selene web wallet and have this whole list of different BCH proposals, see how much funded they are, have one button to add funds, know that I was getting voting shares, and check up on my existing projects and be like, these guys are killing it. Let's do more. These guys are not. Like, I vote to just cut off their funding and everyone gets returned back their money. I think that would be awesome.
Agreed.
So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's my first. Okay, another couple of questions about this. Is there any kind of fee? How are you guys? I mean, obviously you guys benefit from people using Cauldron and being excited about tokens and stuff. It grows the TVL indirectly and you get swap fees. But is there any direct fees for this IDO product?
We haven't completely landed on the exact fee structure, but there will be a fee in the initial Dex offering. But all this will be in the documentation when we announce it, and we will speak about it in a large detail at BCH Bliss this year.
Okay, amazing. And so then I guess that also sort of answers what the timeline is likely to be, similar to sort of 2 months time. Middle May. Whoa, it's now only a month and a half away. It's creeping up on us. I guess we can get more detail then. So it's not likely to be released before Bliss then.
Oh, that's the goal. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm giving away all my thunder this year. I should just drop me as a speaker on Bliss.
Yeah. We already covered it. Okay.
And also, Cauldron is coming to Android and iOS. FYI.
Yes, I heard you mention about the apps. That also sounds very, very cool. Is there a specific driving force to that? Because I kind of wonder, in a way, like Selene, I know obviously we have to do the work to get a slick WizardConnect and a Cauldron integration, and we are working on that. It's one of our 5,000 things on our roadmap, right? And the same with other wallets, I'm sure, as well. So given enough time, I feel like you wouldn't really need a Cauldron app because all the wallets would just already have it built in. But that said, if you guys are like, look, let's just get this going faster and you don't want to wait around the rest of the ecosystem to catch up, it makes sense. Is that the driving force there?
I mean, the driving force is just that people use it to swap and trade and kind of look at the tokens, look at the charts, and we just want to make this easier for people so that they don't have to either go into the browser on their phone or open Cauldron on their computer and then kind of connect, just so it can be just easier for people. I mean, also not so technical people. Like,
they love an app. They know how to use apps, basically.
Yeah. We got to think of the boomers. They fucking love apps.
The boomers who are getting rugged, contributing to their IDOs that they don't understand at all.
No.
All right. Okay. Well, I've got one other question. I see somebody in the chat, Andy C7N3V, says 45 minutes to get a confirmation is too long, which he might have been waiting for one right now. Really need 1 minute block time. So I wanted to give you guys a bit of a chance. I think it will be hotly discussed also at Bliss, and it's been on the agenda for quite a while in terms of lowering the block times. But we're kind of getting to the point that if we want to do it, let's say for next year, people need to start taking it very seriously and being like, yes, no, maybe it's a possibility. Here's what we need to see before we'd be on board, that kind of thing. For each of you, maybe starting with Halvor, what's your take on 1 minute blocks?
I'm positive. I'm positive for shortening block time. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's it. You're already sold. Yeah, let's do it. Like, no concerns, nothing. You think we should 100% roll ahead with it?
No, we should definitely look at. We should definitely do a deep analysis of the effects, both on like security and all different aspects. But overall, I'm positive for shortening block time. Yeah,
Okay, Dagur, what about you?
Yeah, I'm for it. I would like to see it happen.
All right.
Mostly. It's good for our products. That's mainly it.
Yes.
It's good for our users. They get confirmation faster, and there is like less probability of double spending, which is a problem with DeFi, right? I would like to see maybe some other suggestions for how to minimize double spending in DeFi contexts, but I think that's like a step in the right direction. And overall goods.
Yeah, I mean, and always one of the things that I like about 1 minute blocks is that it almost certainly, in most cases, stacks with other stuff. Like, there's very few things that would be mutually exclusive with 1 minute blocks. Like, you could have 1 minute blocks and some other thing that makes double spends less likely.
You don't break anything, right? So hopefully not. But
yes.
Yeah, and I think it will just be a better experience, and also I guess it will make home mining fun. More chances of mining a block. Everyone can buy their own axe mint or whatever it's called, and have it buzzing in the background.
Yeah, well, that seems to have been driving some of the recent interest in BCH mining. I've put up articles about how many different new pools have been joining, and it seems to be that is driven by these home mining operations. So while BCH is a minority hash rate and we can benefit from that extra interest, I definitely think we should. So that's kind of cool. All right, I want to give one quick shout out to our FundMe that I will also shill again at the end of the show, but people might already tuned out before that, so I wanted to get it in before they get a chance to do that. Obviously, we do need money to run the show. It's 47% completed, and if you want to help fund the episodes 176 to 185, head over to fundme.cash and chip in some sats. It's very, very much appreciated. We've got all our proof of work and everything that we're doing documented there. Also, the BCH bullet is slowly growing over time, and people have been really enjoying that, so it helps to fund that too. And so that also briefly is something I wanted to touch on with fundraising. We already talked about maybe IDOs and FundMe coming out in different tranches. There's lots of different ideas there, but I wanted to get a sense of where you guys are at with fundraising on your end. Like, a lot of people in the community will see Cauldron accelerating, building lots of cool stuff and so forth. And you've got that big fundraise earlier. So maybe you can share some tips or tricks in hindsight as to how other people could raise money in BCH if they wanted to build a successful product. Is that getting easier or harder? What's the state of play with raising money as a Bitcoin Cash company?
Just do it.
Okay. Yeah, but gonna need a little more. Okay, I am somebody who comes into the BCH Telegram group. I find out about BCH One Hackcelerator. I get some help there. They show me how to use some tools. I make an initial little product. I get a couple $1,000 worth of funding from that. I'm got a couple of users that are liking it, and I think, okay, my next step is I can see some initial traction, and with the existing money I have, I can either build a little bit further and see how I get to the next thing, or I can set myself up to take a shot at a big amount of money since I already have a proof of concept. What do you say to that person? How do they do it?
Yeah, well, first make something cool. Make kind of a MVP of it, show that it works, and then either create a company, create an LLC in any kind of nice fitting jurisdiction. St. Kitts Nevis, it's like the perfect country for everything BCH. Other countries that I would recommend setting up shop in: Singapore, Luxembourg, Liechtenstein. And then either sell shares of the company or launch a token. Actually, if people were to come to me, I would advise them to launch a token as long as it has some real tokenomics and that I kind of have a guarantee that this will be their final token. So I have to say I'm super happy with serious platforms launching their own tokens, like the Paytaka Lift token, super cool. Zapit, they have their own token. I'm very, very happy about that. So just take the token seriously. As long as people take their own token seriously, having a token that's kind of backing up a company, there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't even have to have utility. This is kind of controversial, but as long as it's a representation of the company or the protocol or the team or everything that you're doing when you wake up until you go to bed for the protocol or for the community, I'm all for it, and I would invest in it if it's cool, if it's a cool dev, and if it's a good project, and I know that this person has good morals, then I would happily invest in a shitcoin. I would.
Right. I mean, there's an element to that I agree with, in the sense that, like, for instance, the show, users donate to the show and they get podcast episodes out, and that's the end of it, right? Like they don't need to be getting a direct return on investment. The investment in the show is paying off, A, in the enjoyment and education from the show itself, and then B, also from the idea that as the show grows, more BCH advocacy, price of BCH goes up. Obviously, people donating are BCH holders, and everybody wins, right? So you need to have a positive sum mentality. And in the same way, I will also donate to other projects that I see are doing well. So you're saying that having a token that people can buy is a simple way to letting them express their faith economically in that sense. That's not always going to be enough. Some people are going to want to say, well, I want to buy a token. I want to know that the price is going to go up, or I'm going to get some other benefit or exclusive offering or something like that. What would you say to those people?
I would say maybe they have the wrong motivations. I mean, if you are in this to get rich quick, there are chains like Solana for that. So yeah, but in all seriousness, the best thing, for example, you've donated to so many different flip starters and fund me's, Jeremy. So you're kind of the prime example of a very engaged and very kind of altruistic BCH community member. The kind of IDO version of that would be to buy some tokens and just burn them. Then you help the developer, you give him capital, and you don't even hold, you decrease the supply. So this would also be possible with kind of that token-based fundraising.
Yeah, but I wonder if people will go for that, right? And I even have evidence, which is that in the last couple of fund me's, not this one, but in the last couple, I tried to get people excited about doing that with Badger coin because I thought it was really cool that Sayoshi made that, and part of the funds went to buying up the badges and burning them as a proof of goodwill. And I think that's a really cool and a really interesting idea. Maybe the failure was in the visibility, like let's say, for instance, in this IDOs, if there was a way, or with FundMe, or in Selene, or somehow that people could build up a portfolio showing I have burned this much of this token, this much of this token, this much of this token, and you could make like a resume, then that would help you to show like credibility when you wanted to get involved in other projects at an early stage or something like that. So that would be cool. But I just don't know. People psychologically dislike the idea of burning tokens. It triggers humans' loss aversion. And it's kind of like, why am I giving this away for nothing? So I don't know if that's feasible,
I mean,
you know?
Yeah, I mean, this would be for super altruistic people. I mean, the same as just supporting a GoFundMe or supporting any kind of non-direct ROI project. The best thing would be actually to hold the token, right? Because, for example, Badger, I love Badger. I love everything that Sayoshi does. And the fact that he made a token, I was very, very happy. And it's a well-made token. He's a serious person. I've met him, and the platform is super, super cool. So this is actually a very, very prime example of a great cash token, great platform, a serious token, a serious dev, and I'd love to see him get way, way more users and traction and the token holders overall.
I think I agree with you, Jeremy. I don't think people really appreciate like token burns. I think maybe they would more appreciate like if you would time lock your token voluntarily for 5 years. That shows like, yeah, I'm taking the risk because I believe the project, and then you might get benefit from it. Yeah.
But you need to find what I'm understand, okay, it's worthwhile me investing in these projects because in the larger scheme of things, it's going to redound back to my benefit. And the more you are in the BCH ecosystem, the more you're going to see the effects of that. But a lot of other people don't see things so clearly, so many steps down the road, right? So they need some more immediate return, and people have got to eat, right? They've got to pay their bills. So in that sense, I think it's something we can do better as a community at finding ways to give people answers. Or like, for instance, the Bliss tokens, we sell them as tickets to Bliss, but like you referenced at the start, then you also get, you know, these surprising airdrops or these other side little benefits. And I love that you made that joke because I literally know other people that also have that same thing. Like one guy, you know, I don't want to say his name, I want to put him on blast, but he was like, you know, holding the token for another attendee. And then he was just like quietly, like, they weren't like, no, give me my token. Like, they were just happy to be there. And so then he got the payoff on the airdrop, which is a little bit sneaky. They didn't mind or anything. So, you know, it was all like in good fun, but it's just kind of that same idea, right? It's that we want to be finding ways for people who issue a token, like Halvor said, to then also be thinking.
I was holding the token for Halvor last year. And, this year, he really wanted the NFT fast. Not doing that again.
and actually, I said to Dagur, I said, hey, I think you held my NFT for last Blaze. Maybe you can just send it to me. I think I got some airdrop, and I actually got some airdrop. But since I hadn't sold it for all this time, this was maybe, I think, November, and I got this airdrop from some kind of shitcoin, and I sold it for 1K USD.
Oh my God.
So this is a very good motivation to come to BCH Bliss this year. You can buy your ticket and you can get airdrop. And I did this myself, and I sold airdropped coins for $1,000. One coin.
Yes. So I just want to be very clear, as the creator of these Bliss tokens, there's no promise of anything besides attending the event. You attend the event. That's what the Laylas are for. There's nothing else about it. And in fact, Jonathan, who I know will be listening to this, he would also want me to say, we do not want it to be a speculative thing that people are going in to buy up these tokens hoping to get airdrops, because the primary purpose needs to be tickets to actually go to the event. That said, if they do sell out and we're not convinced that it's actually people who are going to turn up, we'll just issue some more and then you help fund Bliss. So thanks for that, guys. But really, buy a Bliss ticket only if you do want to come to Bliss. But of course, it does have those secondary benefits, and it really just rests on the fact that Bliss as a project are committed to returning value to our Bliss ticket holders. And once people can believe that and see that in action, as long as they, feel that that's the case, as long as we're good actors and we are returning value to people, then that's obviously likely to continue, and it helps the next event be successful and so on and so forth, right? So, I do recommend people to adopt that attitude in issuing their coins and tokens. Dagur, I was wondering if you could give any other thoughts as well, though, on raising money. I don't know, actually. Is this the first time you've raised money? And whether it was or wasn't, like, what have you learned from the experience doing it this time with the Shadow Wizards?
If I have other thoughts, I leave money raising mostly to Halvor. He's the big brain when it comes to that. I can focus on engineering, which is my passion.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Maybe that's even a lesson in itself. If you are an engineering type of person, team up. Find somebody. Yeah, exactly. find someone who can take care of that half of it for you. There's many such collaborations throughout business history.
And just focus on the product. I mean, I often hold talks in Norway, and every single young guy, entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, either crypto people, rocket engineers, people working in aerospace, they always ask me about this. How do I raise money? Can you help me raise money? Can you introduce me to this person? And the best advice I can give is just to forget about it. Forget about raising money and just focus on the product, and the money will come. You will be aligned with other people that agree with you, that agree with your analysis, and that see that you have a good brain and a good idea and dragon energy. That's extremely important. So just forget about the money raising and focus on the product, and you will be aligned with the right people.
It's a good thought. It's basically the idea that you kind of can't fool people. Like, if you go out desperately seeking investors, every investor is going to see you coming a mile away and think this guy is trying to get some of my money, where it's the other way around. If you are focused on what you're building and you do something great, and investors will be able to see, like, the less you try to show them that, the more they will be able to see that you're just working hard and you're focused and you're doing something valuable, and then they will start helping you. The resources to help you will appear kind of mystically more than you expect, but you do have to put yourself out there. It's not going to happen if you're sitting in your bedroom, unless you are excellent at online promotion, which some people are, but you probably aren't. So get yourself in some physical rooms, right?
Yes, it's like getting a girlfriend. You need to stop trying so fucking hard. Just
I was literally
get out there.
I was literally thinking that exact same thing. That's it. It's more about, if you're doing the right thing and you're putting out good energy, then results start to come from that. But you kind of have to mind trick yourself, because people are always like, how do I get what I want? A to B, the straightest path there. When it's like, sometimes that's the opposite. You have to be Yeah, be the flower, not the wasp. Yeah, or the bee. All right. Okay. Also, BCH conferences. Speaking of getting people into rooms together, of course, I'm going to shill Bliss, and everybody should come to that. And like I said, we would absolutely love to sell out. There's 30 days left to buy tickets, and we're already past the all-time high of sales. So it's going to be a banger. Come meet us in person. You can meet everybody on this call, and I promise you'll love it. Everybody who's ever been to Bliss has loved it, basically. So it's a very low risk investment. But that said, it is slightly a harder time to do it because there's been all kinds of flight disruptions for people with the geopolitical situation and so forth. So I appreciate that it is a big investment and people coming along are very serious. But that's also the upside, which is that the people you meet there are going to be just as serious as you, and that tends to multiply. Also, recently, Paytaka have announced their Cash 3.0 International Bitcoin Cash Conference, which will run in July 31st to August 2nd, 2026. So it sits nicely on the BCH Independence Day, August 1st, which is very cool, in Cebu City in the Philippines. No, exact promises. I haven't booked the flights or anything, but my plan is definitely to be there, and I'm really excited to try out their local adoption and ecosystem that they have going there. So it's really cool to see the BCH ecosystem expanding to new locations in terms of physical conferences, because they're very high effort to put on, but that's also the sign of a growing scene, is that people will travel from around the world to be a part of it. And also, as part of this, I double checked with BCH Argentina, and they said that because there's already Bliss and already Cash 3.0, they are not planning to run another international BCH Argentina this year. Some people were thinking maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't, and people obviously have to decide where they're going to travel. So I can confirm from them that they are not going to run an international conference, but they might run a local Spanish event. So obviously, if you're in the region and or you're able to speak Spanish and so forth, there might still be an event for that, but they will not be doing one that they can heavily market, with English translations and people flying in internationally and so forth. So this year, for international conferences, Bliss and Paytaka are your main options. So I wanted to get you guys' thoughts. I know you're going to be at Bliss, maybe briefly about that. We've already chatted a little bit. And also this Cash 3.0 conference. Any impressions of that, Halvor?
I'm super hyped. We'll be at Bliss, Dagur, me, Halvor, Jacob also. Super hyped. Maybe also Ginger Hero, Shadow Wizard number 10 will come. He's cooking up something amazing. You will maybe see it on Bliss, or else you will just see it on Twitter. We are super hyped. As always, we will bring shit tons of merch, both Moria, Cauldron, and maybe some WizardConnect merch. Let's see. And we're super hyped. We will talk extensively about all our platforms. We will be able to answer your questions about WizardConnect, Cauldron, Moria, Delphi, everything, and you can meet us in person, and we can have some fun.
Are you going to be at Cash 3.0? What's your initial impression of that? It's a long way to the Philippines, but it's a pretty mega chance to try, like, the local ecosystem they've been growing over there is not something that is local, in Argentina, yes, and in Australia, yes, but if those places are not having a conference this year, that would be the place for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, last year, President Jedlicka of Liberland, he represented Cauldron, and I made the presentation together with him, and also Marius Kjærstad, Sandakerman was there, is a good friend of us. For Philippines, of Cauldron's 13,000 monthly users, Philippines is the biggest country where the most users are actually of Cauldron. Amazing. So of course we will do our best to be there, but we just have to see with time and what's happening with development. So, but we will do our very best to come there, and we love the initiative. And big shout out to the Filipino community, the Petaka people. We fucking love you.
Yes. Dagur, any thoughts on the conference
I'd love
circuit?
to go. I hope to learn more about the conference. I haven't looked into it too much, but I'd love to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working with Jomar, I think, is going to be coming along to Bliss as well, and maybe also somebody else with him, which I would absolutely love. It's going to be so cool because those guys haven't, at least so far, I mean, I've never met them in person. I don't know if you guys have, but they've been a little bit, isolated in their little corner of the world doing fantastic work. But I think sometimes it can feel BCH doesn't feel as real as when you're in front of people, hanging out. Makes a big difference.
Are you going?
Well, yeah, that's my plan, is to head over there. Maybe Jet, could come along if he wants to come to the Philippines. And I would love to. I'm super excited for it. But of course, the details still remain to be seen. There's a lot more for them to announce about that. But yeah, everybody can, keep an eye out on that. And obviously we'll announce more about it on the show when they have more details about that. Okay, we've got just a little bit of time. We can touch on this very, very quickly. I've got a community comment of the week. I just got to cash in my clout that I correctly predicted. This quote is from community comment of the week. Samson Mao quote, context is this new client that they've released in BTC called Production Ready. It's supposed to be a sort of competitor to Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Knots, but it also is for, supposedly conservative node development, i.e. in the wake of all the spam discussions, they're sort of like, well, we're not going to support spam. And in fact, not really going to support much of anything. So here was what Samson had to say, quote, as Bitcoin matures and the value stored on the network grows into the trillions, it becomes increasingly important to follow a conservative development path that can eventually lead to ossification. Having multiple well-maintained Bitcoin clients with significant adoption will bring greater balance to the ecosystem, ensuring that no single implementation can dictate the direction of development, end quote. And I would just like to point out that we talked about this on episode 151 about Bitcoin Mechanic. This is the classic. This was the Blockstream funded. Samson was involved. He's not a Blockstream anymore, but he was. This is the resistance that I was talking about. They've started this initiative behind the scenes. They've been doing it for more than a year, and they've no doubt been sucking up all the discussion of funding and ideas, people waiting for this announcement, et cetera, which has just undermined the whole BIP 110 Knots Brigade from the beginning. And they're even going here, eventually leading to ossification. They're already trying to smooth the plane landing into nobody ever upgrades anything again. BTC fully captured, game over, right? So I wonder if either of you guys have any thoughts.
I thought I'd never see Samson Mao trying to shield a multi-team nodes development. That's that's such a U-turn. But obviously the intentions aren't true. So as you say, it's not for future development. It's more to ossify.
It's amazing. And we just have a whole segment of things really that have been happening this week in that camp. John Attack, however you say it, has been on several podcasts saying that there was all this DEI corruption and blah, blah, blah in Bitcoin Core. Hodler Nort, after a decade of ragging on Roger Ver, has started a 4-part series about how Bitcoin Core has been captured, of course, starting after the block size war. We were the good guys then, but suddenly it all got captured when we were left to our own devices. It's just nonsense.
He's a loser. He's a loser. We met him in real life. He's Norwegian, actually.
Really? Okay, that's kind of harsh. What was the problem?
No, it's not a problem. I mean, he actually is a good guy. He obviously fought Fektoshi in court over super long times. I mean, he has fought this incredible battle, and even though he's still brainwashed, it's kind of his religion. So I don't even know how to help him. But I think eventually he will see the light. So yeah, God bless him. Really, God bless him. I have tried extensively speaking with him, talking with him. But yeah, it's sometimes you just have to give up, and people have to kind of understand stuff themselves. You can't make people realize stuff. But yeah, this happens every day. I'm super surprised every day that people are waking up to this. So this is a good start.
Yeah, that's right. You know, sometimes, people have to be ready in their own time. But I think, we are seeing probably by the end of 2026, I think this is going to be the last year of it. Like in 2026, I mean, in 2024, hijacking Bitcoin came out, and that made such a huge splash. Like it was just the right person at the right time with the right information. It sort of got out there. And then 2025, there's this whole, process as the BTC people started to actually realize, okay, maybe there was more to this than we realized. There was all the fighting about spam, etc. 2026, like we're at the end of Q1, basically, and we've already seen another big shift. Guy Swan has also recently been having this like public meltdown where he posted these long threads with videos explaining that big block of conspiracy theories is all fake and everything like that. And then I just, jumped in the replies and was like, look, I'll talk to you about this anytime. I've talked to all these other BTC guys. We had them all on the show. I've never been in bad faith. Like your whole thing is just nonsense and lies, but really the thing is he's just trying to convince himself, and his rapidly shrinking echo chamber. So I think sort of by the end of this year, a lot of it will have been resolved one way or another. Like BIP 110, they've now got 2 blocks in this current signaling period, but they're still just a long way. I mean, could still happen, but for September is going to come round quick, and they're not looking good to activate their split. Even if they do, it's just more infighting and problem. Like truth doesn't rust. So yeah, I don't know if you have any final thoughts on that, but we'll see it play out this year, I guess. All right, let's move on then. Message to the community. You guys know how it is. You get your chance to tell the BCH community exactly what they need to hear. Dagur, you're first up. What does the BCH community need to hear?
And come to Bliss. It's so much more fun in person. Get out of your sofa, meet people in real life. It's the highlight of the year.
Can't get much better testimony than that. Halvor, what do you think people need to hear?
Get engaged. Try and use all the different stuff in the ecosystem. Of course, come to Bliss. Support the Bitcoin Cash podcasts. GoFundMe. It's a great job you're doing. Drink raw milk and use MUSD.
Raw milk. We got to start selling some of that at Bliss. That could be awesome. We got to have some like hot chocolates or something like that at Bliss. Raw milk, hot chocolate. I wonder if we could do that now that I'm thinking about it. All right. Well, maybe we'll look into that. Okay. The Fund Me. Shout out to our contributors. Majimalu, Eyes on the Ball, at Cash Stamps. Use BCH for the win. So mix a bit. I like big ints and I cannot lie. No op, celebrating the devs and emergent reasons. Appreciate what you do. Hope you'll stay grounded in truth and reality. Real money for the world. If you donate at least half of a BCH, then you can also get on that list of shout outs for the episodes through 185. So go to fundme.cash and send us some Satoshis. Thank you also to our patrons, Ricky, Carl, and HP, and our sponsors, General Protocols. Check out bchbull.com. Shout out to Jingle Bob, who is looking forward to meeting everyone and has been a long-time commenter on the show. So we'll be at Bliss, I assume. And of course, you can go to bitcoincashpodcast.com for more info and try Celine at celine.cash. WizardConnect coming in the next release, which I don't want to promise will be in the next month, but it's whenever the next one is, it'll be in that. Okay, final sign off and shout outs from everyone. Halvor, where can people find more of what you're up to and anyone else you want to shout out?
Go to regionallabs.com, go on X, Regional Labs, Moria Money, or Cauldron Dex. You can find both me and Dagur there. His @ is Dagur. Mine is Halvor with a 4 instead of an A. And on Telegram, it's the same. I'm just Halvor, my name. Come speak with us, talk to us, send us a message, and we will try the best to answer and help you out.
Amazing. Dagur, any final thoughts from you?
Also join our Telegram channel. Be part of the community. It's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice community.
Jet, any final shout outs from you?
Not personally, but I guess going back from our Bliss Media talk, if you're a photographer, videographer, send us a resume. If you want to come,
you could come along.
Yeah. We could definitely use an extra set of hands. So
yeah, we have we have some budget for an extra media assistant. So if anybody is interested in that, get in contact with the show on Twitter or on Telegram, and we'll see if we can make that happen, because you can get paid to come along to Bliss. You can not only come along for free, you can actually get paid. Doesn't get much better than that. Okay, that'll do it for today. Thank you all for listening, and until next time.
Cryptonana, exit liquidity, hodl nana, dump it all. Cryptonana, exit liquidity, hodl nana, dump it all.
Cryptonana, exit liquidity,
dump it all.
hodl nana, dump it all. From the day we arrive on the blockchain and blinking step into the trade, there's more to lose than can never be won, more to dump than can never be saved. Influencers, tweets, and the noobs all follow, buying high, selling low, what a game. But the boomers know, and Sailor, he knows that the dump is coming. It's all the same. It's the circle of exit liquidity, and it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and FOMO, till we find our place on the path unwinding in the circle of exit liquidity. Some of us fall by the wayside, and some of us soar to the stars, but the influencers always win with the Lambos and their cars. So beware of the pump and the inevitable dump, for the cycle continues and the news get wrecked. Cryptonana, exit liquidity, hodl nana, dump it all. Cryptonana, exit liquidity, hodl nana, dump it all. Cryptonana, exit liquidity, dump it all. hodl nana, dump it all. It's the circle of exit liquidity, and it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and FOMO, till we find our place on the path unwinding the circle.